It is July 24th, 2021. I'm Andy, and this is the Minorcan Mullet Report from the Golden Ray Rec site in the St.simons Sound. Got out today, and the first thing we see is something we just don't like to see, and that's containment booms and absorbent booms deployed behind the boats, the small boat fleet out on the site. It looks like they have gotten into some sort of product, a heavier amount than what we've seen. And this was a pretty wide area of contaminants that we were seeing out on the Sound. The good thing about this is we really didn't see any real heavy oil. What we saw looked to us more like just a massive sheen of product out on the water. We didn't see that heavier oil like we've seen in a couple of releases that they've had from the Golden Ray while the cutting process is going on. Now, a couple things going on here with these guys. The tide had just turned here. The tide was coming in. There was probably an east-northeast wind blowing probably around 20 miles an hour out here today at the site. So it is the tide. We're right here in this lunar phase where we've got the full moon, and that increases the amount of tide we have here. And of course, when we increase the amount of tide, we increase the speed of the current. You factor in those things: the speed of the current, the wind helping to push it, and it becomes just a real bear to try to wrestle. We could see the boats were kind of bouncing, had this swell rolling in at the site. It was not pleasant, and these guys were out working in it as hard as they could, trying. Now, we didn't get up into the site. We stayed back. You might notice here at the video, it looks a little bit farther away. We didn't want to get up anywhere close to the operation because of all those factors going on and trying to maneuver the small boats around. They're really into the safety zone and kind of out of it, trying to get this product what they're able to get rounded up, and so we kind of stayed back out of the way and just shot some video and got a few pictures of the operation. Had quite a few boats out there. It looked like they had most of their small boat fleet deployed today, trying to get what they could of this product mopped up today. But it was pretty massive. It was a good bit from the wreck site over to the shore, and it was noticeable. We could smell it while we were out on the boat today. So yeah, it was good news and bad news. Of course, the bad being that we had a release here and at the worst possible time, with these tides and the wind blowing into the estuary, into the Sound. But as we'll see, the good news today is they are continuing to cut, and they are making what appears to be pretty good progress on this section 6. And we've got some pictures coming in. We're able to kind of show you guys and get in there kind of tight where you can really see that the chain. And now understand that they're working into some of those areas where they did the pre-cutting, so they don't have quite the resistance that they had before from the outside hull material. That seems to be helping them along with the cut quite a bit. And we've got some pictures coming up, and we're going to show you a little bit of video here. And as we're kind of bouncing along here, you can see some of that product out in the water, creating that sheen, that kind of reflective part where the water is a little more reflective than other areas. That's the product that's been kind of released into the Sound here. And we thought we'd highlight these guys out here doing this job today. You can see that the water, it's starting to white cap out there with the wind blowing on it. the sea is starting to pick up a swell that was kind of rolling in here, and then you add on that little bit of wind wave right there, that little bit of white cap, and in a small boat, it's an uncomfortable and unpleasant experience. But we saw the red Winnie, that red boat, that towboat, U.S. Recovery vessel, pulling containment boom, and like this boat's pulling absorbent boom behind it. And this was kind of going on all over the site as they were trying their best to get up what they could. Hats off to the guys. Now also today, we don't typically see the real small boat in operation, but today we could see that small boat there, and it looked like they had maybe some absorbent boom. This is inside the environmental barrier, and looked like they were working inside the site as well. This picture, you can kind of see some of that sheening pretty clearly in that on the water surface. Now, we're going to run a little bit of video where I'm not going to say anything, but we're just going to mic up the and listen to this wind as it's kind of whipping across the site. As this wind is kind of driving with the current, you can look back and you can kind of see these streaks of this material back across the sound here and kind of coming back from the wreck site into the estuary. We are on the inland side of the wreck when those shots were taken. But at the site today, you see they still have not strapped it down. The straps are still hanging from the support blocks and spreader bars. But here, we're going to kind of zoom in here. You can see how the chain has kind of disappeared into the hull. So they're making progress. They're advancing in this cut and making pretty good headway, it would appear. The chain on the offshore side of the wreck, we could still was visible outside of the ship. So looks like the hull side is really running. A little more of the guys working. Again, just want you to kind of take in, watch these boats working. You can really see them bouncing around out there, and then understand what's going on. You can really hear the wind through the mic and understand what kind of challenges these groups are really up against when something like this is going on. And they answer the bell. They're out there getting it done. Hey, Minorcan Navy, Captain Andy coming to you from the Minorcan Mullet. You know, it seems sometimes we have to take the good with the bad out here with the project, and it looks like we got a little bit of bad. We're certainly thinking about the crews today that are out there working to try to get those contaminants wrestled in. We know that they've got a tiger by the tail, and those guys do a tremendous job, and just sometimes they really come up against a mountain of a job, and it looks like they may have a little bit of one today. The weather is not the best, as we can see the winds blowing, and we really have that strong tide. So keep them in your thoughts. We're certainly thinking about them. We want those guys to stay safe. We want everybody to come home okay and get the best job done that they can, that the weather will allow. And we're going to ask, if you haven't done it yet, click on that subscribe link. Give us some thumbs up. Just take a quick second, reach over there and click on that thumbs up and let us know that you appreciate what we're doing out there. Continue to send the comments. We're going to try to get on some comments. We've been a little busy, but we're going to try to get back in there and try to reply to some of you guys. And most of all, we want you guys to stay safe out there.